Okay, my name is Nancy McCaffrey. I am at Emma Clark Library in Setauket, New York. I am interviewing Seymour Lederman.
Yeah.
And in the room also with him is Lynn Handy and Seymour's guide dog, Jono. Okay? All right. And today is April 25th, 2019. All right. So how are you today?
Okay.
Oh, shoot.
When you wake up in the morning, you can say it's okay.
It's okay as long as you wake up.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Just to start with some biographical information. When were you born? What year?
June 4th,
And what year?
1929.
1929. So that makes you how old then?
89.
89.
Yeah.
Okay. And where were you born?
In Manhattan.
New York.
Yeah.
Okay. And who were your parents?
My mother's name was May Lederman. My father was Hyman Lederman. My mother came from Russia. My father came from Poland.
Okay, so they were both immigrants.
Yeah.
Okay. And did they have occupations?
My father was a furrier. My mother was a mother.
Okay. She was a stay-at-home mother.
Yeah.
Okay. And did you have any siblings?
I had two brothers. I had a brother that, my middle brother, he was in the Marines. My youngest brother was in the Army, and he was also a New York City policeman for 24 years.
Oh, okay. Very good.
He's still alive. My middle brother is deceased.
Okay. Very good. And what were you doing before you entered the service?
I was at school, high school.
And how old were you then?
I was, when I went into service, I was 15 years old.
15. So how did you get into the service at 15?
Well, I had a birth certificate that said that I was older.
Okay.
And I
your
was 17. You
That
can get
was-
into service at 17 with your parent's signature. I was the parent.
So you forged your parents' signatures?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
That's what happened.
And how did your parents react when they found
Bad,
out?
very badly,
Okay.
very
Well,
bad.
They were not happy.
No, especially my mom. Yeah.
Okay. So you weren't drafted then, you enlisted. So
Yes.
what military service did you go into?
Into the Army, United States Army, and you know, at that time, it was a different kind of world at that time, I gotta tell you. And when you're young, we figured we would end the war
Right.
in no time, you know, and we were also bulletproof, okay? And that's what happened. That's why the older guys used to grab you by the head or by the back of your pants and pull you away, you know, from all these things that
All the
you
dangers?
thought that, you know, it's not gonna
Right.
harm you, you know.
Okay. So what was your catalyst for wanting to join the Army at 15?
Well, this country was very patriotic. If somebody attacked us, we're gonna go and beat the heck out of them, you know.
Okay, so that was
Yeah,
basically.
and that was, you know, the mindset of older guys, younger guys, you know.
Wow.
Like I said, it was a different time in this country, much
15.
different time.
I mean, 15 is so young. I can't even picture it at this
Yeah.
time. Yeah.
Well, when you're young, you know, first of all, you think you're bulletproof. That's number one, you know, and you could do anything and nothing will happen to you.
Right.
You know, that's why the older guys used to watch the younger guys,
Right.
you know.
Did you find other kids that were in the Army?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
There was a bunch of us throughout the country, actually. They found out about it after the war,
Oh, okay.
you see, and then we were all discharged. And then we enlisted again in the Army.
Okay. So why did you pick the Army to go into?
Well, I figured that was where a lot of the action was, I guess.
So you wanted to be in the middle of everything?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So what was it like when you departed from the training camp?
The worst part about it, I gotta say, is when you board a ship to go overseas. Now, we boarded a ship in Fort Dix.
New Jersey.
And there was a bunch of us standing by the rail. The worst part of that is watching the Statue of Liberty fade away.
Wow.
And there are tears in your eyes, you know? Never knowing if you're gonna come
Yeah,
and see it again,
yeah,
you know?
sounds like that.
And there was a bunch of guys that, you know, from all over the country that were there, and everybody had the same kind of feeling, you know? It
So
was,
that's when it hit you that
Yeah,
you may not see that.
yeah, it may not be so fun,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Yeah. Okay. Well, where did you go for training?
I went for training initially at,
It's down there to help him out.
yeah, no, I went for,
Camp Polk?
Camp Polk that was where I was transferred to from,
Fort Bliss?
Fort Bliss.
So you were in Texas?
Yeah, I was in Texas, and I was transferred to Camp Polk, Louisiana, because they were having war games, and initially I was trained on an anti-aircraft gun to shoot down planes.
Okay.
Okay, when I got to Camp Polk, they put me in the Armored Division, and I was in a tank, actually.
Oh, you were in a
They
tank?
made me a gunner on a tank,
All right,
a
so,
Sherman tank.
wow. Okay, so when you first went into training camp, how did you feel when you first got into?
It was, you know, being a kid, I thought it was a lot of fun. The older guys, you know, they forget it, you know, but the young guys, you know, when we went through the obstacle course, of course, the young guys, we had to climb this 50-foot tower. It was supposed to be a ship, okay?
Okay.
And I told my sergeant, you want a Jewish kid from Brooklyn to climb this up, what are you, nuts?
You said that to your
And of course,
sergeant?
and he said, get the hell up there, you know, he said, you know? So the young guys could do these things, you know, climbing over fences and going under barbed wire and they're shooting a 50 caliber machine gun over your head, and the sergeant warned you, don't look, just keep down, you
Right.
know?
Yeah, and you thought it was all fun?
I thought it was, that was interesting, you know? You know,
So you didn't have any problems?
like I
with-
said, we were bulletproof,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like you thought you were.
yeah, yeah.
So you
yeah.
didn't have any problems with sleeping in the barracks or the food or anything like
Well,
that?
the food was a little different than I was used to, you know? There's some of the stuff I looked at, I said, what is that? You know? You know what I told my guy? I said, don't you have bananas and cream or something? He gave me the, yeah.
Did you ever get into trouble in boot camp?
I was in trouble a couple of times, you know, but, you know, being young, they figured you were young, so. I gotta tell you, when we stepped off the train at Fort Bliss, you know what the sergeant said? This is not a democracy.
Oh,
So
man.
right away, you're in trouble, you see? So,
Yeah.
you know, if you smoked a cigarette, okay? When you finished smoking, you had to open it up, take the tobacco, make sure it blows away, fold up the paper, and you could throw it away. But if they found you threw a butt on the floor, the sergeant made you dig a 6-by-6 hole to bury it.
Oh,
6
wow.
feet by
Wow.
6 feet. And you had to bury that butt. Yeah,
Wow.
that was them. They also did in basic training, I gotta tell you, they had this thing called a rat race. About 2 o'clock in the morning, they would blow bugles, get
Okay.
you up out of bed, have you run outside, get into formation in your fatigues, right, stay there 2 minutes, they blow the whistle again, you had to run back into the barracks, get into your Class A uniform, they blow it and you had to run out again and go get into the ranks perfectly,
Right.
you know? And this went on for about an hour. And the young guys, of course, could run back and forth. But we had guys in there that were 48, 49 years old.
Wow, really, that old?
Yeah, one guy had a heart attack altogether. One of the older guys picked up his rifle. He put it in the sergeant's mouth and said, you blow that whistle again, you're gone. Yeah.
Cow.
He didn't blow the whistle again. He didn't blow it.
That's
That
crazy.
was, yeah.
So I guess at that time, because you were in war, we were at war, there aren't any age limits then for people
Well,
to
to
enlist?
go, there was a saying in World War II. They were drafting people 6 to 60, blind, crippled, or crazy.
Wow.
You were gone,
All
you know.
right, so do you remember any of your instructors and what they were like?
They were, I can say they were all Southerners. They didn't like New Yorkers to
They
begin
didn't,
with,
yeah,
you know.
Okay.
So I remember when we went to a parade, and he said, "You guys better." There was a contest in the parade, different sections, you know. Said, "If you don't win, you're in trouble." Well, actually, we won the parade, so he gave us a pass to go into town.
Okay.
That was El Paso,
El Paso.
actually.
So that was your R&R was El Paso?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
what was that
yeah.
like?
It was interesting because being from New York, I got on a bus there, I gotta tell you. There was a big sign in the bus, black section, white
Oh,
section.
Okay.
And I told her, I said, "What is that?" And of course, the black's in the back, you know.
Right.
You know, coming from New York, you didn't even,
That's like a shock.
I had a friend that was black. He said, "You know something?" I looked in the mirror, I said, "You know, I didn't even know I was black." You know, he said, "Yeah,
Where was he from, New York too?
yeah,
Uh-huh.
New York."
So he had to go to the back of the bus as well?
Yeah, oh yeah, oh
Wow.
yeah, oh. They didn't care if you're wearing a uniform or not, you know, at that time.
That must have been really hard for somebody from the northern states. to
Yeah,
do
it was
that.
really, you know, yes, what, you know, who would ever think of something like that,
Yeah.
you know, but,
Did you see any of that kind of discrimination anywhere else other than the bus?
well, that's no. But I'll tell you, at Passover time, like now,
Mm-hmm.
my mother sent me a letter with matzah in it, okay? And I was walking with one of my buddies there from South. And he said, "What's that?" And I was explaining to him. He said, "You're Jewish?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "I thought you had a tail and big ears." This is what, at that time, what they were taught.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh my God. That's something.
yeah, it was interesting.
Yeah, I guess so. So you went from Texas and then you had specialized training in Fort Polk?
Yeah,
Okay.
Camp Polk, they had war games at Camp Polk.
What was that like, the war games?
It
What'd
was,
you do?
they tried to, you know, have it like you were going into combat, actually, you know, and what you would do, what you don't do, you know, things like that.
So they were shooting at you or?
They're shooting at you, but with blanks. You know, you
Yeah,
heard the
okay.
noises, you know. They didn't want anybody dying in the States, you
No,
know what I mean?
Yeah.
And,
So,
and then we went to California too for war games, in the desert.
oh,
So we thought we might be going to the South Pacific, you know, we thought.
okay.
So
So when you were in Texas, what was your specialized training for?
I was in an anti-aircraft gun,
Okay.
this big 90mm anti-aircraft gun to shoot down planes, and also to knock out tanks, because you could lower the gun very low. You could knock out a tank with it too. And the shell, I gotta tell you, I'm not big. I think the shell was bigger than me,
Wow,
you know?
okay.
Good. I was an observer.
What do you
I
mean by
told
that?
them where to shoot.
Oh, you didn't actually shoot the gun yourself?
Well, yeah, you shoot the gun too, but they made me an observer after that.
Oh, because they thought you were too small to do
Yeah.
the?
Yeah.
Okay, that's funny.
Yeah. Yes, they were.
So how long did that specialized training last?
That lasted about 3 months,
Oh, okay.
that lasted. And then they shipped me to the Camp Polk because they needed the guys in the Armor Division and the tank.
Well,
You
Camp
know.
Polk was where you had the specialized
Yeah,
training. Then
yeah.
you went to here, California,
Then we went to California to have war games there.
war games, okay.
Yeah, that's why we thought we might be going to the Pacific. you
Okay.
know?
But you said you had different training as well, right? You didn't go to war as an artillery person.
No, I went to war as a tanker, actually.
So you actually drove the tanks?
No, I was a gunner on the tank.
You were a gunner?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
all right. So where did they train you
I was
for
too
that?
young to drive a tank. I didn't have a license.
But they didn't know how.
No, they didn't know.
They didn't know how how young you were at the
no,
time.
no,
Okay.
no.
So where did they teach you to be a gunner? Is that
In
what-
the Camp Polk.
Oh, Camp Polk as
Yeah,
well? Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, so you were in California for how long then?
Just about 3 months.
Oh, another 3 months,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
And then what happened after that?
Then they sent us back to Fort Dix to board the ship to go overseas.
Oh, you had to come all
That
the way
was
back
the
from
end
Fort
of our
Dix.
sort
Okay.
of training.
Did you
yeah.
see your family before you left?
Yeah, I did, actually,
Okay, that's.
you know.
all right.
And my father was even crying.
Well, I would think so, you're only
They
15.
gave you, we had a 2-week furlough, you know, before we went overseas.
So what'd you do in those 2 weeks?
I stood home, you know, see my friends and, you know, when you're a kid, you're a kid.
Yeah,
You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
that's, very young.
Yeah.
Okay, so then you took,
They
from,
like young people there
where's that?
in the army.
Well, yeah, but
Yeah.
15?
But they were stupid, you know what I mean?
True.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
interesting.
So you boarded the ship in Fort Dix?
Yeah,
And where did you go on the ship? How long did it take you?
it took about 2 weeks to get to England.
Okay, you went to
When
England.
we first got on the ship, the lieutenant come over to me and says, "You're on guard duty." I said, "Who's gonna rob the ship?" You know? He said, "Lederman, you're gonna watch out for fires or submarines." I said, "If there's a fire or a submarine, I'm leaving." I told him.
And where would you have gone? So it took you 2 weeks to get to England,
2 weeks to get to
and
England.
once you got to England, what happened?
Yeah, we went in, we did training in England too, of course. You know, we didn't know about Normandy at that time, you know. The English didn't like the American soldiers too much
Oh, really?
because we were getting paid more than them, and we got all the girls. So we were getting $21 a month. That
Wow.
was the pay. It was more than they got. And they come up with this thing, they said, the American soldier is overpaid, oversexed, and overheated. That's what they said.
Okay. And what year was this when you were in England?
In 44,
44.
yeah.
So you stayed in England.
And trained.
Trained.
We trained. We didn't know about, you know, Normandy or anything at the time. And nobody told us about these things, you know what I mean?
Had that already happened?
No,
Oh, okay.
no. We were training for that, actually.
Oh, so you actually went to Normandy?
I went to Normandy. They sent in our tank battalion before the infantry went in,
Oh,
figuring
okay.
that we would clear, you know, away a lot of, they had, initially, on D-Day, we tried to go there, but the Germans had everything blocked off. We couldn't get our tanks off the LST ships because of the whole seashore was blocked. They had
Oh.
blocked off with all kinds of stuff, you know? So we had to go back to England. We went to Normandy 2 days after the initial landing, actually, when they cleared the beaches.
Okay.
And when they cleared the beaches, we went over there, and in France, there was like hedgerows, they called them. These big, thick evergreens that the tank couldn't even go through them.
Wow.
So the engineers welded on steel plates in front of our tanks, and we had to dig them out to get through. And in back of these hedgerows with the Germans with machine guns.
Wow.
So, but being in the tank, you know, they could shoot the tank all they want with a machine gun, you know? That's why they sent in the tanks first,
Okay.
you know?
So this was your first introduction really to the war, was
Yeah,
Normandy?
yeah, it was, you know, a kid, like I said, it's exciting, boy. You know?
Wow.
We stayed inside the tank.
So how did you
We
feel?
didn't look.
How did you feel doing that?
It's scared.
You were scared?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Wow.
I said, you know, these are real bullets,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a movie.
Wow. So how long did that last, that you were at Normandy? How long?
It lasted about a day till we were able to break through, you know, dig out these hedgerows and break through. And, you know, we got rid of the Germans at the other end because the tanks, they could shoot, you know, with a machine gun
Right.
if they want, you
Yeah.
know. And then they sent over the rest of our outfit. And in this battle, it was called St. Vith in France. They had this big battle with the German tanks. And what happened was they announced over the loudspeakers in German that the 9th Armored Division is kaput. There ain't no more 9th Armored Division.
That was
In other
your-
words, they annihilated us. Okay?
Okay, that was your division?
Yeah. So
Okay.
from that point on, we were known as the Phantom 9th.
So that was just like a decoy,
Yeah.
basically, right? for
That's
the
what, you know,
Germans?
they told the German people that all this stuff, that, and they believed it, of course, because they announced it over their radio.
Oh, so you're saying the Germans said that?
The
that-
Germans said that,
Okay,
that the 9th Armored Division is kaput, no more.
okay.
There ain't no more 9th Armored, we annihilated them.
Which
So
was
that's why we're
untrue.
known as the Phantom 9th.
Okay.
Yeah.
So during that Battle of Normandy, did you lose anyone there, or everybody was okay?
No, the tanks were all right. It's part of our
Okay.
infantry, we lost, you know, men.
Yeah, right.
But in the tanks, no, we were good in the tanks.
Okay, so then when you were finished with Normandy, then where did you go from there?
Well, no, we went to this St. Vith in France. We were in France.
And that was
And we
another
went
battle?
to, and Bastogne also.
Okay,
We were at Bastogne before the 101st Airborne got there. They were the ones that really took a beating there. But we were there, and when we were there, we were called away to go to this, it's called the Hertigen Forest in Belgium, because the 1st Infantry Division was surrounded by Germans. And they called the 9th Armored Division, and I was in the 14th Tank Battalion, to go there to get them out of there, which we did, actually. We
okay,
annihilated the Germans, and we got the 101st. The 101st Infantry Division was a New York division, actually,
okay.
you know? And we were in the Battle of the Bulge.
Wow,
We were in. Our tank hit an anti-tank mine, caught on fire. My sergeant, who was like my father, he grabbed me by the hair, and pulled me out of the tank. There was 5 guys in the tank, 3 guys died.
oh, jeez.
He got shot by a sniper, he died. And I got hit by a hand grenade that they threw, and I was wounded. And, but I lived, you know, and I got cut, they had to take my thyroid gland out. And I was in a field hospital for about 2 weeks, and then they put me in another tank.
Oh, they sent you back? They
Yeah,
didn't
oh,
send
yeah.
you home?
Yeah, yeah. No, they don't send you home.
No?
No,
Okay.
no, we went in another tank, and we went through the Battle of the Bulge. We went through, and I was still alive. And the worst thing in my whole Army career was, we took the bridge at Remagen. It was a railway bridge. That was the last bridge standing over the Rhine River.
Okay.
The Germans had blown every bridge over the Rhine, because once you passed the Rhine, you were in the heart of Germany,
Mhm.
you know? This railway bridge was at Remagen, which was the town. It was a railway bridge that was built in World War I
Wow.
by General Ludendorff to bring in supplies to the front and bring the wounded out. Well, they were gonna blow that bridge too, but Adolf sent them explosives that were commercial, not military. So they weren't strong enough to take the
Oh.
bridge down. What it did was, it blew a hole in the bridge, in the middle. So our tanks couldn't get over there at that
Oh.
time. We couldn't go. But the infantry could. Our 9th Armored Division infantry, they were the ones that could. And we were the ones that stayed behind because there was 50,000 Germans at Remagen that we kept right there, in other words.
Wow.
That was our job as at the tank, in the tanks, to keep them there until they fixed that hole so the tanks could roll off into Germany itself, you know? And that's what happened. We waited 10 days, we kept it open. 25,000 American troops got into Germany from that bridge, including General Patton,
Oh, okay.
who, I wouldn't say it, but of course it's being filmed, what he did. But anyway, yeah.
All right. So you had to stay behind because of the
We stayed
bridge.
behind until all the troops went, and then when the engineers planked over the hole, and
Right.
I gotta tell you, we were able to get across, but then the bridge collapsed.
Oh,
We
geez.
lost 32 engineers died.
Oh, man.
Yeah. They were still taking explosives and stuff off the bridge, you know,
Oh,
but we
God.
got 25,000 troops got into the heart of Germany, you know? And our tanks rolled off and we got on the Autobahn, which was the highway in Germany
Mm-hmm.
that Hitler built for his victory march.
Oh.
So there was no lights. I mean, you could do 500 miles an hour on that, and still today, the same
Right.
thing. And we were rolling down, I'm gonna tell you something funny, we're rolling down the Autobahn and we come across this beer hall. And my sergeant said, you know, this might be a good time to have a beer, you know? Nobody else was around at the time, you know? So of course you didn't have a key to open the door, so we blew it open with the cannon, you know? And we went in there, and the funny thing was, we got out, said, where the hell's that tank? We were so bombed out from beer, we didn't even see where the heck the tank was.
But it was there.
It was there somewhere,
Yeah.
you know? And we're standing there with this stupid smirk on her face, and who's coming down the Autobahn but General Patton?
Oh.
And we're standing there with these stupid smiles, you know? And he comes by, he put up his hand and said, looking at you guys, thank God the war is over. He said, you know,
Is that the only time you got to see Patton?
yeah,
Okay.
except on the Remagen Bridge.
Okay, which you
You
don't
see.
want to talk about.
No, I wouldn't talk.
So you're in Germany, so the war is almost ended, or it is ended?
It was just about ending. We got to this town called Fritzlar. Okay, my tank battalion. It was a German airfield, actually. And the planes were starting to take off, the German planes. So we machine gunned them all, kept them on the ground. They couldn't fly. And actually, that's where, when the war ended, that's where we was. They disbanded, the 9th Armored Division was disbanded. The 14th Tank Battalion was disbanded. And we became the 14th Constabulary Regiment, which was a police outfit.
Okay, and that's what led you into the camps?
Into the camp, Dachau.
What was that like?
That was the most horrible thing for a kid my age, and being Jewish, to boot, you know?
Mm.
When we got into that camp, we got out, first of all, the odor was horrible. That's number one. And this guy, yeah, he didn't even look like a guy.
Mm.
You know, he was like a skeleton. Came over and grabbed me around. I thought I would break him in half, and I'm small,
Mm.
you know? And I told him I was Jewish. And he said, in Yiddish, he said, thank God,
Oh, wow.
you know? And there was a pile of men, women, and children. And the worst thing was their eyes were open.
Oh, man.
They were like looking at you. And they were warming up the ovens to get them ready to put in the ovens.
Oh, these people were still alive?
No, they were dead.
No, they were gone.
They were dead.
Oh,
They were
did-
gonna, you know,
Okay.
get them in there. And there were 6 ovens. 5 were hot and 1 was cold.
Wow.
And our captain said, when you open that door, to the one that's cold, start shooting. There was a German officer in there with a gun. Yeah. 5 guys emptied their rifle and then,
So how many prisoners were in there when you went?
there were so many that, you know, we called in the townspeople, all the townspeople, oh, we didn't know this was going on. And the captain said, you know, well, I don't want to use the word he said, but he said baloney.
Yeah.
You know, you could smell it. That something, and he made them bury everybody.
Oh,
Made them
wow.
dig graves and bury them.
And how many days were you at the camp?
I was at the camp about 2 days, and when I got home and discharged, finally, I was there for 3 years during the occupation. I was discharged in 1948, and my mother, I still lived there, said I used to scream at night.
Oh, you used to?
Yeah,
Because of the camp
Yeah,
experience?
yeah.
Wow. Now, did you take any German prisoners while you were there? Were they at the camp?
yeah, there was, that's the other
Well-
thing. The SS were there. The guy in my tank took his machine gun and killed all of them.
Oh, wow.
Goodbye.
Okay.
No
All right.
prisoners.
All right.
And then after the war even, we went looking for the SS. And the only way we could tell they were SS is under their right armpit, they were tattooed with SS.
Oh, really? I never
Yeah,
heard of that.
Yeah, yeah. And we put them, believe it or not, in prison, you know where? In Dachau. We
Oh, I
imprisoned
never
them.
heard of this.
Yeah, and we had, this was never, you know, told to anybody, but we had a sniper on the roof of the prison. And we made sure they tried to escape.
Oh,
And
so,
when they escaped, goodbye, you know.
so they tried to just go back into society?
Yeah,
With-
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they went back into the wrong society. Yeah,
Okay. Wow, what an experience.
yeah.
That must have changed you from when you started.
Well, it grew up
Yeah.
in a hurry,
Yeah.
you know?
Wow.
It was an experience, it was, how could you experience in your lifetime, my God,
Wow.
you know? Just having somebody shoot at you was, you know, because when you're young, you're bulletproof,
Right.
you know?
Now, did you make any lifelong friends when you were
We
there?
we used to have reunions every year.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Last year was the last reunion, because most of the wives are gone. My wife died 2 years ago. And half the guys were on crutches or canes, or so we said last year was the last.
And they were all from your unit?
All from the unit, yeah,
Wow.
yeah, so.
Do you still keep in contact through
Oh,
phones or
yeah,
anything?
yeah. I keep in contact with one in Louisiana, my friend Louise and Ron. Yeah, they come, and they visit me this summer, they said.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you remember your last day in the Army, what that was like?
It was a great day, because I was going home.
Everybody
You
says
know,
the same
and they
thing.
tried to make me enlist. They wanted me to
Mhm.
enlist for another 3 years,
Yeah.
you know? Because after the war, when we disbanded our outfit, they seen in the high school that I had typing. They sent me to teletype school in Europe to become a teletype operator. And in my outfit, that's what I did, actually. I was in charge of the teletype, the signal department. That's
Okay.
what I did. I became a teletype operator.
Now, when was that? Was that,
47.
okay, but you were,
1940. So
that-
about a year I was a teletype operator.
was that after the war was over?
That was after the war was
Oh,
over. We were
okay.
just during the occupation. The war, I got the message over my teletype. December 1946 was the official end of World War II.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you went to the camps, they sent you back to do
Yeah.
this teletype thing, and
Right.
that's when you found out
Yeah.
the war was over?
Yeah,
Okay,
oh yeah.
So-
We got the message, you know,
Yeah.
over the teletype.
okay. And where were you at that time?
In Fritzlar, Germany.
Oh, you were still in
That
Germany?
was, yeah, that
Okay.
was where we stayed.
Okay,
And there was a displaced persons camp there, Jewish. Displaced persons, the whole building, you know, was
Right.
full of this. And it was off limits to GIs. But I went there anyway. You know, and I befriended this, was a grandma, grandpa, and a grandson and a granddaughter. That was their whole family.
wow.
And when I used to walk into that building, the people would just run away.
They would run
They
away?
see a uniform, you know?
Oh, they were afraid? Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Yeah.
Even though it was an American?
Never realized it was an American
Yeah.
because our, the patch that we wore actually, with a C was a constabulary, but it had a lightning bolt through it like the SS.
Okay, all right, so that
So
frightened
they,
them.
you know,
Right.
but I befriended this, that was their whole family. The grandma,
What was
grandpa.
left of their family,
What
I
was
guess.
left, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And I used to bring them a lot of stuff on the PX and stuff, you know,
Okay,
yeah.
that's nice.
It was an interesting part of my life, you know.
So how did you get back home and where did you land when you came home?
Well, actually, they sent me home, well, with the ship. We went home by ship, landed in Fort Dix again, and we were discharged from there, from Fort Dix. And of course, they tried to make you enlist, you know.
Did they
Yeah.
promise you something?
Yeah, they promised me over there, they wanted me to stay in Germany. And in 3 years, I was gonna become a sergeant. They would send me home for 30 days by army plane, you know? I
Okay,
mean, but I said, I don't think so. No, but unfortunately, knowing what happened to me, now my eyes, okay? They didn't know what the heck happened because I started losing my vision little by little when I was there.
when you were in the army?
No, when I'd become a, what do you call it? When I was discharged.
A civilian?
Yeah, I went to work. A friend of mine had a body and fender shop, you know, fixing cars.
Mm-hmm,
And he asked me to go there, and I went under the GI Bill. I went to school at night, and I became a mechanic, actually. But my eyes were getting worse and worse and worse. And I went to the VA, you know. They
Right.
didn't have what they have today.
right.
I went to a clinic, I had to take 3 buses to get there, to this clinic that they didn't even know what the heck was happening to me, you know? But little by little, of course, they sent me to New York Veterans Hospital.
Okay,
And I tell you, I told them to get me the heck out of there.
wasn't very
They
good.
sent me to Bellevue for their doctors to look at me. They had about 100 doctors lined up. By the time I got out of there, it looked like my eyes were bleeding,
Oh, jeez.
you know? And the doctor, when I got back to the VA, says, oh, we may have to operate, but we'll do both eyes at the same time. And I said, nobody ever does that.
Mm.
They'll operate maybe one eye at a time. I said, just discharge me. So they, believe it or not, they sent me to a psychiatrist
The army
at the
did?
VA,
Wow.
in the VA hospital. Yeah, the guy asked me, he's stupid, do you mind wearing tight clothes? I said, yeah, I don't mind. I wasn't not gonna jump out a window. I told him, you know. I said, why don't you just discharge me? They discharged me. That day, I went from there to the VA hospital in Brooklyn, which was a brand-new veterans hospital in
Okay.
Fort Hamilton, you know? And the doctor there said, boy, they must be nuts over there. You know, he got a classic case. You need corneal transplant.
Oh, he knew it
Yeah.
right away.
So I was in the hospital 3 years. I had 6 corneal transplants. And if you were to, my left eye, I could see light out of one eye. I don't know, I only have one eye now,
Hmm.
you know? And I could see light out of that eye. And that's the way I lived my life. you
So
know?
was the eye problem directly because of the army, or was
They
it just-
tried. They didn't know.
Oh, they didn't know.
They didn't
Okay.
know. Anyway, I belong to the Blinded Veterans Association. The
Okay.
lawyer there went to that hospital in Brooklyn to look up my records.
Right.
He said, you know something, you weren't even there.
I know, not even records.
No records,
Hmm.
nothing on tape, nothing at all.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So the war ended, and you said you did go back. Now, how did you get your high school diploma?
When was that? My principal sent me my diploma. You know what he said? I learned a hell of a lot more than he could have taught me. Yeah, it was Thomas
So you
Jefferson
didn't
High
have
School.
to take
Yeah.
any tests or anything like
Yeah,
that?
I got a diploma hanging on my wall, you know.
That's fun. And what college did you go to?
I didn't go to college, I
Oh,
just
you-
went to the job that I did, I went to Brooklyn Automotive.
Okay. And the
Yeah,
GI Bill paid for that? so
Yeah,
you'd go.
yeah, they paid for that, and my boss loved it, you know why? He only had to pay me $25 a week
Why is that?
for being on the GI Bill.
Oh,
The
because
government paid me.
they paid you.
You know, for going to school, he only had to pay me $25. He said, oh, that's wonderful, you know?
So how long was that your lifelong career?
I was there for about, my eyes were getting worse and worse. I did that for about 8 years, I was able to. And some guy, people came in to fix their cars. I used to go onto the car. He said, how come he's not using a light? My boss said he knows everything under that car. He don't need a light, you know? So I was losing my vision, you know,
Right.
little by little by little. Until they said that you need corneal transplanting, you know, which didn't work
Yeah.
because they had no rejection medication at the time, like they
Okay.
have today, you know.
Right.
So that's what happened, and here I am with my guide dog. I've been
Yeah.
using guide dogs since 1963,
Wow.
and I lived in Brooklyn, actually, that's where I really grew up, in Brooklyn, and I worked for the Guide Dog Foundation,
Oh, you do?
doing
Okay.
speaking engagements, fundraising, and I went all over the city, and in all the 5 boroughs, and I gotta tell you a funny story. I had to go to the Bronx to a school, and I'm coming down the stairs, and I usually listen, somebody's walking where such and such a street is.
Mm.
And I hear somebody walking, and I'm asking, where is such and such? I don't get no answer. I started yelling, you know, no answer. Some guy was walking to the train. He said, did you plan this here? The funniest thing in the world I seen. You're talking to a deaf guy. He said, that was the funniest scene I ever seen. The guy's waving his arms, you're yelling. He said, did you plan this here? You know,
That's
he
funny.
said,
So, getting back to when you came home, did you readjust to civilian life
Oh,
okay?
yeah.
No problem?
No,
Except
no
for the
problem.
nightmares, you said you had nightmares.
yeah, nightmare, that was, you know, that was the big thing. It
How
was a
long did
nightmare.
that last?
I still get some,
Oh,
once in a
really?
while.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
All right.
I still
And-
get once in a while. My wife, she was also blind,
Oh,
Yeah.
okay,
but we always had the guide dogs, you know.
okay.
And
And what veteran organizations do you belong to?
the Guide Dog Foundation in Smithtown.
Yeah, and veterans organizations, do you
I
belong to?
belong to the Jewish war veterans.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
all right.
I joined that when I was in the hospital, actually, I joined that.
So let's just reflect a little about your war experience. How did it affect your life, being in the war?
Well, I went in as a kid and come out as a man,
Mm-hmm,
that's what,
okay.
you know, with a little more brains, I guess.
So you were what, 17 when you got out? 18?
I was 15 when I went in,
Right.
I was 19.
Oh, 19
I was
when you
there
came
for
out.
4 years.
Okay.
Yeah,
Wow, that's a long time.
yeah.
Did your military service impact your feelings about the war or military in general?
No, you know, to me, it was great being a soldier, you know.
Even when you were being attacked?
Even when being attacked, you know, you watch the movies and all that, it's, you know, it's,
Wow.
yeah, you know.
So you have no regrets?
I had no regrets at all. It was a great experience in my life, you know,
And you were in some of the major battles
Yes.
as well.
yes.
Do you have anything to say to the younger generation about military service or anything in general?
Well, military service, today, it's so different today, I think, than it was years ago, of course. There's certain things you can't do today that years ago they did, you know? Like, you know, when we got off the train, he said, "This is not a democracy," the sergeant said. You know what I mean? And so it's so different today, but it's a great experience in your life, you know?
You would encourage people to do it?
Yeah, oh, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
You know, especially especially if there's no war, of course. It's a wonderful life in a way, you know?
You meet
And
people
you're in good
from,
physical condition, you know,
yeah, they keep you
you
in,
get good food. Now they get good food.
and you meet people from all over.
And you meet people from all over, and it's an education in itself, you know?
Okay.
Meeting people from different states and different cultures even.
Yeah,
You know?
depending where you're sent.
Yeah, yeah.
So is there anything you want to cover that we haven't covered?
No, I think we covered all, and thank God I'm still here,
Yeah,
so that's good, right?
yeah, it's great. When is your birthday?
June 4th.
So you're gonna be 90.
Yeah,
Well, happy birthday.
yeah, thank you. Yeah,
That's great. Thank you for coming.
yeah, thank
And I
you.
really enjoyed interviewing you.
Yeah, it's,
Anything else?
sometimes you know, you make a joke out of it, it's good.
Well,
know?
you had very interesting stories, and I'm glad we got it on
Yeah.
tape. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.